have a lesson on it, okay? So we've talked about area. How many dimensions does area have? How many dimensions? Remember we walked around looking silly? One dimension versus how many? Two. Area has two dimensions, right? So when I take area, I have to multiply. You guys know that. So what's my basic formula for area? Again, base times height. Good. Alright, and that is my formula that works for any, what sort of shape? What sort of shape does base times height work for to give me the area of something? A regular rectangle, right? So I can take my base times my height to get the area of my shape. Okay? So area as a difference, like I said, we've mentioned it. If you look at area as a difference, okay? We're given a base and a height. And this little part over here is chopped out. Okay? What we can do is take the base times the height of our big chunk of the whole rectangle and then subtract the little chunk that we took away. So area as difference is all about that subtraction. So one of the things you can look at with area is if we've got we need to take an eraser to your book. Alright, so I've got my rectangle, right? And I've got my base and my height. Need all eyes up here, please. Don't worry about the writing right now, okay? So my base down here, right, and my height. If I just take this and I snip out a little rectangle, if I take the whole area and subtract this little piece, am I left with the area of this guy? Does that make sense? So, area is a difference. Difference means subtraction. We're going to find the area of the whole thing, and subtract out our little guy. So our job is going to have to be to find the area of the big guy together, and the area of the little guy, then subtract the whole area, take away the little area. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? I know we've talked about it a little bit. I'll make sure you guys are understanding. So let's look at that first example. It gives us 8 and 12 and 6 and 4. It gives us a height of 8, a base of 12, 6, and 4. So now our job is to figure out what the dimensions of this little rectangle guy is, or are, what the dimensions are. So how am I going to figure out the length, the base, and the height of my little rectangle? Subtraction. Good. If I know this base is 12, and I know this one is 6, and I know this is what? 6. Okay? We've got to compare all horizontal lines to horizontal lines and vertical lines to vertical lines. Horizontal, laying down, like you're on a bed, and vertical, standing up. Okay? So, if I know this is 6, I need to figure out this one. How am I going to do that? Subtract again. If I know this is 8, I know over here is 4, and I figure out that one. Yeah, right? What is it? Crochet, what is it? If I know this one's 8, good, 4. I know this one's 8, it's going to take 4 and 4 to get me to the whole height of 8. So what's the area of this little rectangle? Come on, what's the area of my little rectangle here? This little guy. What's my area? Looking at your numbers, what's my area? What's my base and what's my height? Looking up here, please. Base times height. What's the base of this little rectangle? Base is please.
This one with the base time.
Base times height gives me area.
Oh.
So
why y'all say that the base was 6 and we said 2?
well, the base of my big
Oh,
rectangle,
about
right?
that.
We're talking about the little rectangle and the big rectangle.
Oh, I
So my
see.
little rectangle, he's 6 by 4, and my big rectangle was 8 by 12. Okay? So, Jamika, what is my base and my height of my big rectangle? Okay, my base is going to be along the bottom. My base is here. My height, okay, so of my big rectangle, what's my base and what's my height? So 12 is the base, and what is my height? 8, good. So, how do I find the area of my big rectangle? Multiply, what's 12 by 8? Anybody? 12 by 8? 72. 96, there we go. So 96 is for the whole thing, okay? 96 is for the whole thing. So I've got 96 here, I've got 24 here. How am I going to find the area of this shape now? Subtraction. Area as a difference, right? So what am I going to subtract? 96 minus 24. 6 minus 4, 2. 9 minus 2, 7. So 72. And then we got to make sure that we don't leave off its label. And it was given to us in meters. So my 72 is going to have a label of what? Meters squared. Good. Because area has 2 dimensions. So that's why it gets that 2 right there. Does that make sense? Okay. Let's look at example 25.2. This one's a little bit different, but we're still going to be able to do it the same way. Okay. So if we have an irregular rectangle, we've got one that kind of looks like a top hat, let's just say. Our top hat is 2 by 2 by 2 by 4. Okay, so area as different, or difference of area. Area as a difference. So this one, rather than just having one little rectangle cut off, he's got 2 rectangles cut off, right? Can I still do it the same way? Find the total area, subtract my little rectangles, right? So we can still do areas of difference, even when we've got our top hat shape. We can just take away our 2 little rectangles. Does that make sense to everybody? Yes, Portia? Come on. Eyes up here, please. Does that make sense? Okay. So, based on what we know about this, what is my, let's start with the big rectangle this time. What are my base and my height of my big rectangle? What are my base and height of my big rectangle? Need everybody's eyes up here, please. Eyes up here. Waiting on one. I'll keep them up here. And you just follow along up here. Okay, so Destiny, what you said? 10 by 4. Base is 4, height is 4. Height is 4, good. 10 by 4. Base, 10. Height, she took 2 and 2.
Look.
Okay. Yes.
We got a piece of home.
So 2 is here, right?
Yeah.
And we've got this little rectangle and this little rectangle to make our whole big rectangle, right? These are those 2 little guys that I was flipping off over there. Okay? So if we flip him off, we can see this side is going to be the same as this side, right? So that side's 2. What's this side? 2 also, right? So if it's 2 there and 2 here, how tall is my rectangle? 4. rectangle? What's my area of this little rectangle? Did it crochet? What is it? Look at it. Base times height. Find the area of my rectangle. What are its dimensions?
You want the area?
4. Okay, what's my total area?
I thought it said 40.
40. Okay, so I've got 40 for my whole big guy. I can take away 4 for this little guy.
What you do? 10
times 4 to give me the area. The area is base times height. So here's the area of my big rectangle, right? This one is the area of my littler rectangle. So what is the area so far?
Oh.
Careful, difference, so subtraction.
36.
36, good. But that's only taken off this little guy, right here. I also need to make sure to take off that little guy. So what are my dimensions of this guy? 2 and 4. So crochet, what am I going to take off of 36 now? 8. Good, and 36 minus 8? Here's the area of the rectangle a little bit bigger.
She said
28. Okay, so 28, what? Dimensions are in feet. Feet squared, good. 2 dimensions, that's why it gets the squared. Okay, any questions on that? The 2 different ways? Or these, you guys absolutely must do it as different. If it says define the area as different, you need to make sure to follow the instructions and do it how they asked. If there's no specification, you can do it whichever way you prefer. But for these, we need to do it as difference to practice. Yes, ma'am.
You're trying to eat off or whatever it is.
Yep,
Because
absolutely.
that's
All right, so do your practice problems now, please.